That's a long space for a wall.
It's going to be a lot of bricks.
Meanwhile, this morning, it is official. Billy Bush reportedly fired from the Today Show after NBC executives threw him under the bus in a covert attempt to derail the Trump train.
Well, this morning, Melania Trump speaks out for the very first time since that 2005 videotape was released. I had an opportunity to visit Trump Tower yesterday for the exclusive one-on-one interview.
Excellent.
Melania, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Of course, welcome.
You're married to someone running for President of the United States of America.
Well, it was quite an amazing year and a half. It was a lot of excitement and a lot of drama, and we're just enjoying it. You know, I'm very strong, I'm very confident, and I could handle everything. But what I will not allow, people saying lies about me, saying lies about my family, my husband, and I file a lawsuit, and I will file till the end because I will not allow that.
What lie made you the most upset, and how would you like to set the record straight?
The lie was that I was working as an escort, what is not true, and it's just terrible what's going on out there.
Is that a double standard with the mainstream media?
It is a double standard, and I see that mainstream media, they want to damage my family and my husband's campaign.
There were some reports about your immigration issue and how you got into this country when you started modeling here, your visa, becoming a U.S. citizen. What are the facts?
The facts are that I always obey the law. I have all the documents. I have very clean past. I would never stay here on the as undocumented.
I think all women in America felt for you and for what you went through, and just all the allegations of these women coming forward. What was your reaction?
I was not surprised in one way because, as I said before, everything was organized. Why now? Why 3 weeks before the election? And what they're accusing my husband, that is not the person that I know.
What is your message to these women?
That all the allegations should be handled in a court of law and without the evidence. To accuse somebody, is a man or a woman, it's damaging and it's unfair.
When he came out, he apologized immediately on that. I think the tape was released on Friday. He immediately came out and he said, I said it, I was wrong, and I apologized.
Those words, they were offensive to me, and they were inappropriate. And he apologized to me, and I accept his apology. And we are moving on.
So what do you say to women that are watching, women voters, female voters, that haven't been able to get past it?
My husband is kind, he's a gentleman, he cares about people, he cares about women. He's not the man that we heard him on the tape. Many times I gave him an advice and I didn't agree to do all the tapes on Howard Stern with Billy Bush, because I know those people, they hook him on. They try to get from him some inappropriate and dirty language.
When he decided to run, is it true that you were pushing him to do that? And did y'all have a conversation like, okay, some of these things might come out, some pictures, some conversations? How did you handle that as a couple?
We talked about it. His life was open book. A lot of people know about it. My husband, he's raw and he's real. And he tells it as it is.
What do you think about becoming First Lady of the United States if Donald Trump does win? What do you envision?
In 21st century, it's very important now. We see social media. It can be very, very bad. I see negativity that children go through. And it's really sad. And I would focus on that.
What do you think of Hillary Clinton?
I think she's fighting. But I see it's like a Clinton machine behind it. and they are playing politically correct game, and they are protected very well.
There are a lot of people that want to hear more from you.
Well, it was my decision not to be on the campaign trail. My priority is our son, and I want to be a mother first.
I wanted to ask you about the debate. What is your advice to Donald Trump?
Just to be himself, keep it calm, cool, focus, and to talk about issues that American people want to hear about.
That's great advice. You know, that's a real eye-opener, seeing her, because she's such a big part of his life, and the way she looked at the, you know, the various tapes that have popped up and the women.
You know what I take from it? She wants to win. At first, I thought she was like, okay, if you want it, you can have it. I think she, watching that, I go, wow, she really wants to win.
Right. I walked into that apartment thinking she wasn't going to be as strong as she is.
Yeah.
She's extremely strong, and I loved her answer. She said, no one tells me what to do. No one tells me where I'm going to be on the campaign trail. I'm a mother first, and that's why I'm not out there.
Right. And that's why she collapsed the jewelry line. She just said, hey, you know what? I'd rather be with my son.
Yeah.
Why did I become a parent if I'm going to be traveling all around?
Very good interview.
Right.
Hard
Awesome.
questions and great answers.
Thank you.
All right. Meanwhile, coming up...
I find this stunning. New bombshell allegations of a quid pro quo offered by the State Department to the FBI to reclassify Hillary Clinton's emails during the investigation into her private server, thanks to WikiLeaks.
Yeah, reclassify it down, declassified. Donald Trump calls that criminal.
What's illegal? I mean, what's taking place is illegal between Justice Department and the FBI and Secretary of State and the State Department. I think it's crazy what's going on. It's totally illegal. It's a criminal act. It's a crime.
So is it a crime? Is he right? Is there a smoking gun?
Well, let's ask our Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Hey, Judge.
Hi, good morning, guys. It is a crime to offer a bribe, even if the bribe is not accepted. It's obviously not the crime of bribery. It's the crime of offering a bribe or attempted bribe. A quid pro quo is a trade. I'll give you this tie for that tie, the quid for the quo. The offer, the trade-off was, if you can take this document and reduce its classification from top secret to secret, or from secret to confidential, or from confidential to unclassified, we will provide more opportunities for FBI agents to do their work in the Middle East, an area where they're generally prohibited from working.
And this is, tell me if I had this right, the reason why this is so important is that Hillary Clinton told everyone she never had classified information coming in or out on her server. Now, if she is found to have classified information on her server, labeled like that, she would look like a liar and irresponsible.
Yes. Now, she very carefully parsed words, almost as precisely as her husband did back in the sexual investigations. She said, I have neither sent nor received anything marked classified. That is technically, literally true, because nothing is marked classified. The classifications are, the markings are top secret, secret, or confidential.
Judge, you had, sorry.
Now listen, these markings change all the time. There are very vague lines between them. Top secret is something which, if revealed, would harm the national security gravely. Secret is something which, if revealed, would harm the national security seriously. How do you decide between serious and grave? So often the markings change so that more people can look at them. But the markings never, ever, ever change after the document has been subpoenaed, when it's in the hands of the FBI, in the midst of a criminal investigation. That's called tampering with evidence.
Or because of a bribery.
Yes.
Should somebody be indicted?
Well, I originally thought so. The FBI doesn't think so, and I don't know why. I can speculate why. I mean, either the FBI agent who reported this didn't have credibility, or the offer was so vague, we'll give you guys some opportunity to work overseas. They didn't consider it a bribe.
You know, it's amazing. He just wants, it seems like the FBI just wants to do their job better. We want access to countries. We need into Iraq to do our job better. So they're asking for a favor to do their job better.
But the favor is the illegal part.
This offer happened, to make this even more complex, under John Kerry's watch. When this offer was made in 2015, Mrs. Clinton had been out of office for 2 years. So this is largely John Kerry's responsibility that Patrick Kennedy, number 3 in the State Department, still there, allegedly made this offer, which the FBI didn't take seriously.
This is like offering money to a police officer when you get pulled over to get out of the ticket. It is illegal.
Does that
you
work?
Can't do this. No, you'll go to jail.
Yes,
Don't
you will.
try that.
Yes, you will
It's
go to
illegal.
jail. But
Judge-
Patrick Kennedy apparently will not.
All right, Judge, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck in Vegas, guys.
Thank you very much. Coming up, top of the hour, state.
Dallas Woodhouse sending out a warning and an apology for the phishing emails. The White House laughing off a suggestion by Donald Trump to drug test presidential candidates before tomorrow night's debate. Listen to what they said.
Donald Trump suggested that presidential candidates should have to take a drug test. White House response?
Well, so you're telling me that the candidate who snorted his way through the first two debates is accusing the other candidate of taking drugs? It's a curious development in the campaign.
Wow, that coming from the White House press secretary. Well, reporters pressed him on what he meant by that. He just said he was trying to have fun with the press. Well, the press wasn't laughing. And those are your headlines.
All right.
That's something else.
Heather, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So the big story is this whole quid pro quo thing over at the State Department. And so we've got State Department spokesperson Admiral John Kirby joining us. Hey, Admiral, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago you were sitting on our couch and we were talking.
No, it wasn't.
Yep, and I know you listed that right under Admiral as career highlight. So just to talk about this, it doesn't reflect directly on you, but maybe you could provide some insight on this. These documents are now released that seem as though we've got verbatim a quid pro quo happening between the FBI and State Department, where Patrick Kennedy, the Undersecretary of State, is saying, do me a favor, reclassify this, and in exchange, the FBI seems to have want to get into some countries that they're forbidden from operating in. Do I have that wrong?
Yeah, actually, you do, Brian. What we're talking about here is what is called a 302. It's a summary of an interview with one FBI employee who gave these views. We looked into this. The FBI looked into this, and it's just not true. There was no quid pro quo even suggested or any kind of bargain laid on the table. What did happen, and this was what did happen, though, is Pat Kennedy did talk to the FBI, as he did on other email traffic that we were getting ready to release through FOIA, to discuss and try to better understand why they wanted something classified.
Admiral, did you just say that the FBI guy got it wrong?
What I'm saying is the FBI as an institution said that there was no bargain suggested.
You're blaming
there was
the
no
FBI.
bargain sought. No, not at all. What I'm saying is that both the State Department and the FBI looked into this, and there was no bargain even suggested by these two individuals who were talking on the phone.
Why was the term quid pro quo used? I mean, it's one thing to suggest it looks like quid pro quo.
Why don't we
there
do
it
this?
is, quid pro quo.
Why don't we do this, Admiral? Why don't we show the viewers at home the exact email, and they can make up their own minds. Look at this. It says the agent, his name's not there, advised that in exchange for marking the email unclassified, State will reciprocate by allowing the FBI to place more agents in countries where they are presently forbidden. So you do this for us. You change it. You declassify that secret email, and we'll put more FBI agents in the Middle East for you guys. If that's not quid pro quo, I don't know what is.
And the term was used.
If that in fact had happened, yeah, you're right. But it wasn't a quid pro quo.
That didn't happen.
The individual. But
what was that email,
the individual, well, let me finish now. The individual who said that wasn't one of the two individuals involved in the conversation. Pat Kennedy and the other FBI official was not the person who gave this interview. I can't speak to what that individual remembers or how they remember it. What I can tell you is we've looked into this. There was no quid pro quo even suggested. There wasn't even an inkling of that. And the FBI said the same thing. In fact, the FBI gave a very detailed statement right after this story broke that explained in detail how this came about.
Okay, but would you argue as well that Patrick Kennedy never asked for it to be declassified so that he could then essentially, as the story goes, put it in the basement of the Department of State and nobody would ever see it? Was there an action on the part of the Department of State to declassify it so that it wouldn't be, looked as a problem having been on Hillary Clinton's illegal email server?
Not exactly. What Pat did talk to the FBI about was this particular email, which we did not believe warranted to be secret. We did not think it deserved to be classified at the secret level. The FBI obviously had a different view. We ended up losing that argument. The FBI won. It was classified secret and was heavily redacted. You can see it on our website. It's right there. We did not believe it needed to be. They thought it should be, so obviously we deferred to them. The fact that we had debates and discussions inside the interagency over the classification over some of these emails is nothing new. It happened quite a bit in the release of the 55,000 pages. This was just one example of exactly that kind of interagency debate and discussion. We frankly disagreed with their view, but they won the argument.
Admiral, part of the reason is, and I know you can understand this, is there's so much at stake. We want to find out if maybe the future President of the United States would be that irresponsible when it comes to top secret information. Number one, setting up your server, the American people can decide. Number two, sending in surrogates perhaps to make sure you don't look bad as you try to get the presidency is something else. You could understand how people could look at this and say, what was really going on behind the scenes? Would we ever have known this if it wasn't for WikiLeaks and these hacks?
Well, listen, Brian, I do understand, and I certainly understand the curiosity that is raised about this, the concern that is raised about this, but honestly, there just was nothing there, and nobody can call Pat Kennedy a surrogate for anything other than the United States of America and the State Department. He's been a loyal public servant now for going on 4 decades, and he's a very, very dedicated man to his job, and he was simply doing his job in debating with the FBI what our view on this particular email was.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, why is he still working there if he's behind all of this, but you're saying it never happened. It was just a conversation. It was not even in an email.
He's behind nothing other than trying to serve the American people through the State Department.
You have to understand why the American public, all of our viewers, are so frustrated with what's happening. Can't you understand that?
I can understand when the press coverage on this certainly broke. I can understand the concern, which is why I asked to come on your show today to try to explain it to your viewers.
Right.
There was no bargain stock.
So, Admiral, when you do leave, are you going to take a lamp or a couch? Like, why is it that Hillary Clinton is allowed to take this stuff with her? What's the future? What is the story behind that?
Look, I can't speak for that. I can tell you that, whenever my time is up, I intend to take a nice nap. Let's put it that way.
I would take the lamp. It's smaller.
Right.
You could probably transport it.
Is that usual for a secretary to leave with furniture?
Look, as I understand it, those were her personal belongings that she brought from home to decorate her offices and then took them back again. I mean, I've got stuff I hang on my wall that I intend to take with me because it's mine.
As long as it's hers, as long as she paid for it and we, the taxpayer, did not.
As I understand it, these were her belongings.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Admiral.
Have a good day. Thanks for dropping by. Straightening
Thanks, guys.
things
Good
out.
to be with you.
Okay.
All right. So, we also...
In other news.
I know, right? It was very nice of him to come on.
That was great.
He's
It still looks
always
fishy.
willing.
All right.
It does. Well, we sat down with Melania Trump yesterday. She opened up her home, very nice to allow us in there so that we could talk to her about what happened with the Billy Bush stuff.
And Ainsley, think about what's at stake when you walked in there. There's been 9 women who come forward and accuse our husband of doing these things. She's been quiet since. We wanted to see what it was like on the inside.
That's exactly right. We wanted to get that interview last week, and they decided they wanted to do the interview this week. And we got a chance to sit down with her and ask her, has the mainstream media been fair? Is it fair for Donald Trump to go after Bill Clinton's past? Listen. Is it fair for the media to bring up Bill Clinton's past, or for Donald Trump to bring up Bill Clinton's past?
Well, if they bring my past, why not?
So they're asking for it.
They're asking for it. They started. They started from the beginning of the campaign, putting my picture from modeling days, as you want that to be your first lady. That was my modeling days, and I'm proud what I did. I worked very hard.
She's got a great point.
Yeah, she said some of the rumors that are out there that the media's been saying about her, they're false, and she has several lawsuits against some of these publications.
That's right. You know what's interesting? Michael Isikoff, who used to be at Newsweek and at NBC, now he is calling for NBC to release a tape done with Juanita Broderick, who claims Bill Clinton raped her years ago. NBC ran part of the tape where she talked about the rape, but they did not run the excerpt where Juanita Broderick talks about how Hillary Clinton threatened her and was trying to destroy her. NBC has not released that, and he would like to see them do that, as many people would.
Yeah, but of course...
because that would be fair,
The media's there just to report the story, not take sides. I will say this. This is what I did notice about Melania Trump. The biggest problem, because she's drop-dead gorgeous, a supermodel with a Eastern European accent, people think she's some exotic person. And you see her with her child when she was at, I was at a few Apprentice finales and seeing them doing different various things did a Christmas special with him where he introduced the family. She is as normal as any mom on the sidelines watching her kid play sports.
Play soccer. She said she likes to stay at home. She's a homebody, and I can understand why. I'm sure she's bombarded when she goes out. She'd just rather be at home.
Well, great job. We're going to see more a little later on.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Meanwhile, straight ahead, the people, Clinton's security detail that served during her time as Secretary of State.
Some of them refused to work for her because she put their lives at risk.
And perhaps the strangest accusation, although it sounds familiar, when she left the State Department, she stole lamps and other stuff. For more on that, we turn to the author of Guilty as Sin, Ed Klein. Ed, why does she always need furniture even though she's rich?
I think it's a sense of entitlement. Everything belongs to her. The country belongs to her. The White House belongs to her. Furniture belongs to her. Whatever she wants, she's entitled to it.
Well, and we're going to talk a little more about this in a minute, but, I mean, when they left the White House, they took a bunch of stuff. So
they had
this is
a
not shocking.
huge van pull up in front of the White House. They took half the china from the White House, if you remember. They had to actually return it later on.
Sure, they got caught.
I thought what was most interesting about all of this are the secret agents, or agents that were on her detail, that said they didn't want to work for her. Listen to this. Prior to Clinton's tenure, being an agent on the Secretary of State's protective detail was seen as an honor and a privilege reserved for senior agents. However, by the end of Clinton's tenure, it was staffed largely with new agents because it was difficult to find senior agents willing to work for her. Explain that, Ed.
Well, you know, the same thing happened when she had her Secret Service agents when she was the First Lady. These people hated, the Secret Service hated working for her because she would greet them. He would say, for instance, the Secret Service would say, "Good morning, ma'am." And she would say 4-letter words and 6-letter words, "Get out of my way."
Government employee?
Yeah. I mean, they hated her. And so it was considered the single worst job you could possibly have in the Secret Service, and then the diplomatic service as well.
Okay. Also, according to this report, it looks like to get good press coverage, she would oftentimes surround herself with friendly journalists, but also she would ask to go to hot spots where the security detail actually felt like things were not right. For instance, once in Jakarta, this came out and said the DS, Department of State agents, felt this excursion into potentially hostile areas placed Clinton, her staff, and media, and her security detail in unnecessary danger in order to conduct a photo opportunity for her election campaign. Ultimately, apparently they did enough yelling, they relented, and they wound up going into this hotspot.
These diplomatic service guys told me that Hillary, had 3 priorities when she got to the State Department. First priority, running for president from the moment she arrived at the State Department. So all these trips, like 130 countries, she took along these reporters who were favorable to her because she was setting up the time when they would be covering her when she ran for president. Also, she was on the phone with donors when she was in the State Department, getting contacts with people who were going to donate to her presidential campaign later on. So her basic goal in the State Department was putting the groundwork for her presidential run.
And the other story is going to the Palestinian territories in an armored car because the risk was so high. She insisted on rolling down the window, putting everyone in jeopardy.
Well, think about her casual attitude toward security and what that meant for Benghazi, because there is a connection between how she treated security with her diplomatic service and how she treated security in Benghazi, which, of course, resulted in the deaths of 4 Americans.
Regarding the WikiLeaks, Daily Mail's got a headline, "Bill is having a hard time, Chelsea is livid, and Hillary is peed. How the Clinton family is being rocked by WikiLeaks." It says that Bill Clinton is also upset by Donald Trump's campaign tactics, which have included parading around previous Clinton sexual accusers.
Well, you know what's so interesting to me? We're talking about something that Donald Trump may have done 30, 20, 10 years ago. In my book, Guilty as Sin, I'm talking about what Bill Clinton is doing right now.
What is he
down
doing right
in Little
now?
Rock in his penthouse apartment, getting foot massages from interns. I mean, and nobody's covering that.
Yeah, which, by the way, is not, she couldn't be doing that because it's not a residence. Evidently, he's not being taxed on it. They told him to fold up the apartment and, you know, put down the foot.
Because the National Archives is footing the bill.
How do they get, what is their arrangement? Like, why is this happening? It's continuously happening. We always hear these stories of what's happening with women in his life. And then there's that Energizer Bunny lady up in Westchester.
Right.
Referred to in the WikiLeaks, actually.
A lot of energy.
He has parties up in that penthouse on the 5th floor of his William Jefferson Clinton Library, and he takes out a garden hose often and actually hoses down the women in wet T-shirt. This is Bill Clinton.
What?
And they say, well, he's not running for president. What about 2 for the price of 1?
Sure.
You know, when you get a Clinton, you always get a second Clinton.
It's spring break every day in the attic.
That's right.
In your book, you talk about how he wanted to build a pool on the roof and have these
nude swim parties.
Like JFK.
Exactly, yeah. And this guy, Bill Clinton, is the very person that Hillary said, if I get to be president, I'm going to put him in charge of the entire economy of the United States.
So mainstream media is not talking about that
Not
yet.
at
They're
all.
going after Donald Trump for what happened 11 years ago.
Double
he
standard?
wasn't even running for president.
Double standard, indeed.
All right, Ed Klein, the book is called Guilty of Sin, big New York Times bestseller.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ed.
About here is what is called a 302. It's a summary of an interview with one FBI employee who gave these views. We looked into this. The FBI looked into this, and it's just not true. There was no quid pro quo even suggested or any kind of bargain laid on the table. What did happen, and this was what did happen though, is Pat Kennedy did talk to the FBI, as he did on other email traffic that we were getting ready to release through FOIA, to discuss and try to better understand why they wanted something classified.
Admiral, did you just say that the FBI guy got it wrong?
What I'm saying is the FBI as an institution said that there was no bargain suggested,
You're blaming
there was
the
no
FBI.
bargain sought. No, not at all. What I'm saying is that both the State Department and the FBI looked into this, and there was no bargain even suggested by these 2 individuals who were talking on the phone.
You know what? Something I just noticed that he said, the 302s, that's a summary of the conversation.
Because they
meaning,
FBI guys don't record things.
Right, but if that's the summary, then what's the long, big conversation?
And here's the thing about the summary. It actually uses the phrase quid pro quo.
Right.
This for that. So that's
I give you
why.
this, you give me that.
We got a Lanny Davis. He's going to talk about this in about 5 minutes.
So the NBC was not happy with Billy Bush. You may have heard from 2 weeks ago, because 10 years ago he did a tape. He did a feature with Donald Trump, and one of the source tapes that was not used in the final package, they were rolling on it when he was inside a bus. The audio was very damaging to Donald Trump, and because they let the whole thing roll, it looks as though Billy Bush has done some damage to his career. So bad, it blew up his network contract.
Yeah.
It looks like he's been bought out and is done after just a month at NBC.
He was fired. And his contract was for $10 million, so they gave him that
Something
money?
like that. Yeah, it's confidential. We don't know, but TMZ said he was getting $3.5 million, and his lawyers were making the case. Look, Billy told everybody about the tape. So it's not like the bosses are going, we didn't know anything about it. They knew about it.
Right. Well, I sat down with Melania yesterday, Melania Trump, and I asked her, like, what was that like when Donald Trump came home that night, that Friday night, after he apologized to the world? What was the conversation between the 2 of you, and what were your thoughts about what happened in that bus? This is what she said.
Those words, they were offensive to me, and they were inappropriate. And he apologized to me, and I accept his apology. And we are moving on.
From a woman's perspective, what were your thoughts when you heard those tapes?
This is not the man that I know. This is, we could see, as I always said, as my husband said as well, for a successful businessman, entrepreneur, entertainer, that he did so much in his life, been in so many shows, so many tapes. It's very hard to run for a public office. And he did it anyway. He said, I want to help American people. I want to keep America safe. I want to bring back jobs, bring back economy. So our children, our future will be the best way possible.
What do you say to women that are watching, women voters, female voters, that haven't been able to get past it? What do you say to them? What's your message to women?
My husband is kind. He's a gentleman. He cares about people. He cares about women. He pushes them to the best level they could be. He gives them a chance to prosper in his organization and in his campaign. And he's not the man that we heard him on the tape.
That's a great interview, and you're going to have a little more coming. The complete interview coming up in about 10 minutes.
But know what there's such an important question you asked, Ed. What do you say to women that can't get past it? Now, in other words, I'm married to him. I got past it. But also, on a side note, he's been shedding female voters. He has to find a way to stop that. And if he's trying to say your question to Melania and her answer was really to all the female voters who had decided for the first time, especially married ones, I am not going with the Republican candidate. Well, and the answer they hope brings back women to his side.
Well, you know, she really has to believe that he is the best choice for our country if she's able to do an interview like that and defend him. Because, like she said, those comments were repulsive. But she said, I have forgiven him. We have moved on. He's learned a lot through this whole process. And we didn't know at that point he was going to run for president.
Right. And of course, the Trump people say that this is all, you know, the accusations are made up, politically timed and stuff like that to damage him with women. So it'll be interesting to see the balance of the interview coming up in 10 minutes. Also, we just got a Fox News alert. Apparently, the very latest batch of John Podesta emails has just been dropped by WikiLeaks.
Wow, so they're still doing it, even though they've been shut down. Finally, just a quick note. I got to give credit to Howard Stern. Because like Melania was saying, out of context, when he was hanging out with the guys, he says things he shouldn't. Howard Stern says, listen, he's out here, we're having a good time. I'm not going to expose all the tapes from all his appearances over the years, because that would be a breach of trust.
Plus, who would go on Howard Stern's show then afterwards if they have any sort of ambition? Right. It could destroy him.
Well, the full interview is coming up in about 10 minutes, so stay with us.
We'll be watching. So, was there an attempt to make a backroom deal to keep Hillary Clinton's email under wraps?
One of her biggest defenders has agreed to come on our show to talk about all of this. Lanny Davis is going to join us live next.
He went to college with Hillary, and the son of Clint Eastwood gets...
Well, today is the day before the third and final presidential debate. Stunning new documents confirming one of Hillary Clinton's top State Department lieutenants may have tried to make a deal with the FBI in the middle of her email investigation over the Department of State. Donald Trump says this is a crime.
The State Department was trying to cover up Hillary's crimes of sending classified information on a server our enemies could easily access. This is felony corruption by any standard.
Okay, for a reaction now from the Clinton side, Lanny Davis is a former special counsel to President Bill Clinton. He went to law school with Hillary Clinton, and he joins us live from our nation's capital. All right, Lanny, good morning to you. Good morning. Let's go ahead and just briefly talk about this FBI document where quid pro quo is mentioned. There's an agent's name advised that in exchange for marking the email unclassified, State would reciprocate by allowing the FBI to place more agents in countries where they are presently forbidden. And then at another point in the documents, it uses the expression quid pro quo. Lanny, it looks bad.
Well, let me give you facts. That's all I do, and then we'll argue from the facts. If you think the facts are inaccurate, please tell me. Okay. Fact one, there isn't a single document or word in this story that alleges that Hillary Clinton knew or was involved in this story. Fact one. Fact two, that the career diplomat who is mentioned, not lieutenant, but career diplomat served under Republican, Patrick Kennedy, career diplomat, argued that a document 3 years later should not be deemed classified, and he lost the argument. It remained classified. And third fact, the FBI document says that it was the FBI agent's idea for a favor to be done while he was reviewing the Kennedy argument. It was not a quid pro quo from Kennedy. It was an FBI agent who initiated the idea. Fact three.
But it just kind of looks like, Lanny, her pals at the State Department are trying to clean up the email mess. That's what it looks like.
Well, look, I can't argue with your right to have a optic look, subjective opinion.
Optics, baby, that's what it looks like.
But what you didn't, that's a looks like to you, and I respect that we have a different look-like optic. But I gave you 3 facts, and the first fact is that she's not involved, and the second fact is that the career official lost the argument, and the FBI initiated the idea of having more FBI agents in a foreign bureau, which the FBI said had nothing to do with the debate about a 3-year post-facto retroactive decision to classify a document.
Okay, since Hillary Clinton, because you're a lawyer, you said there's no evidence that she was directly involved. Patrick Kennedy is directly involved. It looks like Jason Chaffetz's oversight is going to have an investigation. If it is proven that he broke the law, should he be fired?
Absolutely, and Congressman Chaffetz has a right to make an inquiry as long as he sticks to the facts that are not in dispute that I just said to you. And remember, Ambassador Kennedy is career, appointed by Republicans and Democrats. He's there as a career. He argued about a document that was deemed classified 3 years later after the document was not classified at the time in 2012. If Congressman Chaffetz deals with those facts and finds any wrongdoing, I'd be surprised, because the FBI yesterday said there was no quid pro quo. Indeed, it was an FBI agent, that was fact 3, who initiated the idea of more personnel in a foreign office.
Well, it just looks bad, and that's why they're going to look at it over at House Oversight.
God bless. Bring it on. The facts are on. But certainly Hillary Clinton has nothing to do with this. Fact 1, why I'm here, because I'm an old friend of Hillary Clinton's. I'm here because I love being on this program, but it has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton.
Okay. All right. Lanny Davis with the Hillary side of the story. Lanny, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up, Ainsley's going to sit down with Melania.
It's good to hear from Lanny Davis again.
Absolutely. He came out to put their side of the story out there. A lot of people don't agree with it, but God bless them.
Yeah. All right, well, we talk a lot about the Billy Bush thing with Donald Trump. Well, I got to sit down with Melania Trump to ask her for the very first interview since all of that happened about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I sat down with her in her house yesterday afternoon. So here is her take on that and the interview pretty much in its entirety.
Melania, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Of course, welcome.
You're married to someone running for President of the United States of America.
Well, it was quite an amazing year and a half. It was a lot of excitement and a lot of drama, and we're just enjoying it. You know, I'm very strong, I'm very confident, and I could handle everything. But what I will not allow, people saying lies about me, saying lies about my family, my husband, and I file a lawsuit, and I will file till the end, because I will not allow that.
What lie made you the most upset, and how would you like to set the record straight?
The lie was that I was working as an escort, what is not true, and it's just terrible what's going on out there.
Is that a double standard with the mainstream media?
It is a double standard, and I see that mainstream media, they want to damage my family and my husband's campaign.
There were some reports about your immigration issue and how you got into this country when you started modeling here, your visa, becoming a U.S. citizen. What are the facts?
The facts are that I always obey the law. I have all the documents. I have very clean past. I would never stay here on the as undocumented.
I think all women in America felt for you and for what you went through, and just all the allegations of these women coming forward. What was your reaction?
I was not surprised in one way, because, as I said before, everything was organized. Why now? Why 3 weeks before the election? And what they're accusing my husband, that is not the person that I know.
What is your message to these women?
That all the allegations should be handled in a court of law, and without the evidence. To accuse somebody, is a man or a woman, it's damaging and it's unfair.
When he came out, he apologized immediately on that. I think the tape was released on Friday. He immediately came out and he said, I said it, I was wrong, and I apologized.
Those words, they were offensive to me, and they were inappropriate. And he apologized to me, and I accept his apology. And we are moving on.
So what do you say to women that are watching, women voters, female voters, that haven't been able to get past it?
My husband is kind, he's a gentleman, he cares about people, he cares about women. He's not the man that we heard him on the tape. Many times I gave him an advice and I didn't agree to do all the tapes on Howard Stern with Billy Bush, because I know those people, they hook him on. They try to get from him some inappropriate and dirty language.
When he decided to run, is it true that you were pushing him to do that? And did y'all have a conversation like, okay, some of these things might come out, some pictures, some conversations? How did you handle that as a couple?
We talked about it. His life was open book. A lot of people know about it. My husband, he's raw and he's real. And he tells it as it is.
What do you think about becoming First Lady of the United States if Donald Trump does win? What do you envision?
In 21st century, it's very important now. We see social media. It can be very, very bad. I see negativity that children go through. And it's really sad. And I would focus on that.
What do you think of Hillary Clinton?
I think she's fighting. But I see it's like a Clinton machine behind it, and they are playing politically correct game, and they are protected very well.
There are a lot of people that want to hear more from you.
Well, it was my decision not to be on the campaign trail. My priority is our son, and I want to be a mother first.
I wanted to ask you about the debate. What is your advice to Donald Trump?
Just to be himself, keep it calm, cool, focus, and to talk about issues that American people want to hear about.
So she said she's not going to be on the campaign. Has never been the plan to be on the campaign trail.
Yeah,
do you think she will now?
You know what?
She's got 21
that remains
days
to be
left.
seen, but she said she's a mother first, and no one's going to make her do anything. They agreed in the very beginning that she wasn't going to be out there, and that's her choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the convention, she came out, gave a great speech, and then there were parallels to Michelle Obama's, and suddenly she was not rolled out. But watching the interview with you, she's terrific.
She's strong.
I'm sure that's going to be posted on foxandfriends.com.
Yeah,
All right.
You have to watch.